Welcome back to episode 8 of Hockey Actually, everyone. I'm Izzy, this is Nicolleta, and we are officially 1 week away from the Vancouver Canucks regular season start. But that is not what we are starting with today because yesterday we had a schedule release. So the PWHL has officially released their 2025-26 regular season schedule, which means we now know all the games that our lovely PWHL Vancouver will be playing both home and away. Where should we start this off?
I guess we should start with the home opener.
Like a way to start it.
Yeah. So we've got our first official PWHL Vancouver game on November 21st against none other than the other expansion rivalry team right out the gate, PWHL Seattle.
Ooh.
It is at the Pacific Coliseum, which is going to host 13 home games this season. So if you guys are in the area around, highly recommend. I think this first home opener is going to be quite nuts, if I'm
Oh
being
yeah.
honest.
I was wondering whether I had a feeling it would be Seattle Vancouver for the first expansion home opener. I just wasn't sure if Seattle would get it or Vancouver would get it.
I'm
And
so
I guess
I
Vancouver won.
Yeah, well, we had as we said previously in our other episodes, it's Vancouver that hosted the biggest like turnout,
Mhm.
right? So I'm not entirely surprised. Like, yes, it is a toss up, but I'm kind of like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad it is here because we'll be able to cover it.
Exactly. Oh, can you imagine what that's going to be like? Especially with it being the expansion, like our expansion sisters.
Both
And
expansion sisters' first game.
yeah, on
Crazy.
Vancouver's home ice.
Exactly.
And
And the
even,
Coliseum is gorgeous.
right?
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
And even like on the ice too, like it's going to be so interesting to see how these two teams match up with how super powered both of them are after the draft. Sorry to the other teams in the league, but
it,
it happens.
it is what it is, you know. Acknowledge Vancouver. Honestly, I think it's just going to be super interesting. I don't think it's going to tell us everything we need to know about the teams because it is their both of their first games and kind of like, matching up the different lines, figuring out who works well with who, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I think like both teams are going to be guns blazing
Oh,
right out the gate, like
yeah.
looking to prove their point. So I'm very excited. I
Oh,
think it's going to be a super fun game to not only watch, but be like there for.
yeah. And like the other part, I think that will also come into play for the actual on ice product is the emotion for the players. Like for like the Jen Gardners and the Hannah Millers, this is like your hometown that you're playing in for the home team. Like I can imagine that you're
The
one,
excitement, like
yeah.
true dream, like you could not write a better like climax to a person's story than this. Like it's your hometown, it's your sport. You got drafted to the home team whose first season it is, playing the other like first like I can't even imagine what these girls are going through because they're just gonna want to make their mark. And honestly, if I was a part of the team, that's exactly what I would do. So
Mhm.
it'll be fun.
Just
I
it's
think
gonna be so
the
exciting.
season is, yeah.
Mhm.
Anyway, should we talk about the rest?
The rest of the season. I
Yeah.
mean, of course, the rest of the season is going to be like phenomenal, but that home opener is definitely going to be on everybody's must-watch lists. Um, what else do we have? So
Well,
their
there's
first
3 games total. Maybe
30
we should
games
start with
total.
that. Yep.
Their first away game takes place on November 26th. They'll be in Ottawa taking on the Charge, which is three different players' former teams, including goaltender Emmerich Mashmeyer. It'll be interesting to see who ends up starting that game. It'll be even more interesting to see if she ends up starting that game. Who knows?
Agree.
And
I think it would be pretty like I think that would be a good game for her to start. Like
Mm-hmm.
if she's in the right state of mind, I think she's gonna kill it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's like your rival team, and from what I understood, reading all the interviews and stuff like that, it wasn't a bad experience, but maybe it wasn't necessarily the best experience. So being able to go back and kind of be like, look at me now.
And I think like another fun thing will be to kind of gauge the away crowd's reaction towards like PWHL Vancouver or even either the expansion teams. Just because like I'm sure so many of the fans of these opposing teams are kind of like, you took our players, what the heck? So to see if who knows, maybe they'll end up getting booed when they show up just because it's like, oh,
Honestly, I really hope not. Like, it's very likely, don't get me wrong, but I feel as though maybe, like, not that men's sports is like a little toxic, but they
well.
definitely, yeah, they get like very invested in their teams, and there's nothing wrong with that. But from what I gather, speaking to different fans in the PWHL, people are very just happy that the other teams are there to play
Yeah.
against their own.
Mhm.
So
Very.
so yes, there's that natural rivalry of like, oh, it's your team versus another team. Like you're going to be patriotic to a certain extent, but just the fact that you're there experiencing this and having a team to root for is a positive. So I think that the crowds in general will be very forgiving in that sense. I hope. If I'm proven wrong, then that's just the way life goes.
I think
But
like the only instance you might see booing is if Vancouver and Seattle get off to a really heated like first couple games and you just
yeah,
establish that tough rivalry right
rivalry,
away.
yeah. West Coast rivalry, that
Oh
would
yeah.
be pretty brutal. I mean, I would prefer if yes, they're healthy competitors, but they're still rooting for one another, like
Yeah.
you're not
Like
gonna throw any dirty hits towards the other team?
it's not gonna be the NHL.
Yeah, that's what I'm hopeful for.
Yeah.
But
Um, Another date on the calendar to mark is since PWHL Vancouver is not the only Vancouver hockey team playing at that time, both the Canucks and PWHL Vancouver will be playing on November 29th, with PWHL Vancouver playing in New York against the Sirens at 9 in the morning Pacific time. Which
guys, I like hockey, not that much. Oh, damn.
the downsides of being on the West Coast.
Oh, dude. Well, I was on the East Coast before rooting for a
Right.
West Coast team. Like, that's
Ooh.
almost worse.
I guess that's the thing. Would you rather wake up at 9 for a game or stay up until like
Yep.
1? Yeah,
It depends. Oh, geez.
that's true. But don't have to wait too long for the first West Coast Canucks PWHL Vancouver same day game because that takes place on December 6th with PWHL Van playing against none other than the Sirens.
Did they do that on purpose?
They actually, I saw they have, I think the numbers may not be computing properly. I did this calculation in the morning. 6 days where both the Canucks and PWHL Vancouver play on the same day. And a couple of those, the PWHL game is scheduled for 12 and the Vancouver one is scheduled for 7, which would be a perfect doubleheader day for anyone who wants to catch 2 games of hockey.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe marketing is just doing their job very well.
Who knows?
Who knows?
But
But
for
that's actually pretty cool. For Vancouverites who really enjoy hockey, you've got quite a couple days ahead of you where
oh,
that's
yeah.
all you're gonna do.
Oh yeah. Let's see.
Literally wake up, hockey, work, hockey, bedtime. That's the day.
Or you just skip the work part.
Yeah. Don't even bother. Take a nap.
You're like, oh, I'm sick today.
Yeah.
Let's see. We also have a couple breaks in the schedule to talk about. December 8th to 15th, the league is on pause for international training as well as the European Hockey Tour and the Rivalry Series. The next break that we have is, of course, the Olympic break, which we know many of PWHL Vancouver and the rest of the league's players will be taking part in the Winter Olympics. That is from January 29th to February 25th. There are a couple other interesting dates that I did make note of where there is not a confirmed venue, which many have kind of hypothesized that could be alluding to takeover tour dates. Yeah. So Vancouver's first potential takeover tour date, if that is the case, would be December 27th in a home game versus Minnesota, but we do not know the location yet.
Okay.
They have, let's see, they have 1, 2, 3. They have 5 more after that, with their last one being another home game against the Boston Fleet on April 7th. But again, for all these, we do not know the location. I would guess, if anything, geography and country would come into play here, just like how it did last year with Toronto and Montreal coming to Vancouver because they're both Canadian markets. I wonder if, I know lots of people have talked about potential takeover tour stops where they could go, as well as potential expansion teams. I'm wondering if maybe if there is potential for an Alberta team, would it be Vancouver and potentially Seattle, who do have a matchup that does not have a venue? Could they potentially end up playing in Edmonton, or maybe a different team?
That's a very interesting point. I think they're waiting to be very strategic. Like, honestly, I kind of give the organizations props for how thought out they're being with these decisions.
I think another thing to credit is how tightly locked everything is, because nobody knows anything. It seems like nobody outside of the organizations and the league know anything.
Well, like, okay, we're the media, right? And we had absolutely no idea. And like, we're very close with people up top. Like, up top. We wanted to know, we would, but we have no idea, you know? So we'll see.
Yeah. So that is something interesting for people to keep an eye out for, potential takeover tour games. We don't know when those will be released. We don't know the venues. We pretty much don't know anything about that other than the dates and the teams that they will be facing off against. So yeah, that's all we've got so far.
That's all we got, guys. Sorry.
But anyways, back to the schedule. So we do have another couple games to keep note of. Canadian legend Marie-Philippe Poulin, her first visit to Vancouver with the Montreal Victoire will take place on December 20th. This is a 12 p.m. game. I think it's during winter break. I don't know when schools let out for winter break this year, but I would imagine it's either then or that will be on like a Saturday or Sunday.
I know that at least UBC is finishing on the 20th.
So you finish your exam, then you just go right to the arena.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. Anyways.
That always sucked to me that schools let out so late. Anyways, off topic. Moving on from university talk. And then as part of the list of these venue-less dates, Vancouver will take on the defending Walter Cup champions, the Minnesota Frost, for the first time on December 27th. Again, we don't know where that's going to be, but that's the date.
It's going to happen.
Exactly. And then we have Sarah Nurse, Izzy Daniel, Hannah Miller, and Kristen Campbell's first return to Toronto since joining PWHL Vancouver, which will take place on January 17th. Although we also do not have the venue for that. So it might not be a return to Toronto. but that is what we have so far.
Could be a permanent stay in Vancouver. But it it's very interesting how like what select games are not determined yet,
hmm
which I like. But
Yeah, I think there's pretty much, yeah, Minnesota, Montreal, Toronto, Seattle. The only ones that Vancouver won't be playing against are Ottawa and New York for the venue-less games, and they play Boston twice, which is interesting.
that's so
Yeah.
okay. Conspiracy away.
I get the New York part because geographically wise, I don't see much connection there. But
Literally.
Boston interests me just because Boston is
Yeah.
farther east than New York. But like the only connection I can think of between the city of Boston and Vancouver is the 2011 Stanley Cup Finals. But
I wasn't gonna say it, but I'm
I
glad
know,
you
I
did.
know, I know. I had to say it. I guarantee it was on everyone's mind. Um, but anyways, um, so pretty much that's it, except for the final regular season game for PWHL Vancouver will take place on home ice on April 25th against the Minnesota Frost.
Mm-hmm.
Time is to be announced. So we will wait for more on the official starting time for that game. But that is a kind of
Overall
brief
schedule. Yeah.
summary of the schedule that we got. Yeah, a brief. The schedule that we got today. Shifting gears a little bit, we at the hockey actually do have some news. We have a Abbotsford writer joining the Hockey News Canucks site, none other than Miss Nicolleta.
Yeah.
So be sure to follow along as Nicolleta helps the Hockey News site for the Canucks cover Abbotsford this season. She'll be doing everything from features to stats pieces, whatever you can think of. Um,
And anything that you guys want, I'd be more than happy to do. I'm driving the hour and a half both ways, so make it worth my while.
You might as well live out there at this point.
Honestly, I've been considering.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm so excited to join the site and I hope that I can do what I've done so far with the PWHL as well with the Abbotsford Canucks. So
You're already killing it.
yeah.
By the way, Nicoletta's first piece for the site came out on Monday, a lovely feature on Calder Cup champion Arshdeep Bains.
Our
So local boy. So be sure to go read that. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
and without further ado, now that we are on the topic of Abbotsford, let's chat a little bit about their training camp roster that has been released today. Since Abbotsford's training camp runs from pretty much today, October 1st, or I guess this is being released on the 2nd, but
Yeah.
runs from October 1st to October 4th, with October 4th being a game out in Chilliwack. But other than that, we have October 1st, 2nd, and 3rd as practice days, October 4th game day. Let's chat a little bit about Abbotsford.
Mm-hmm. I don't think we want to go over every single.
Oh no, 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 no.
Yeah, that might take a while. But is there anyone on the list that you were surprised but excited about?
There are some that I am looking out for throughout the season. One of those, I think, to start us off would probably be Danila Klimovich, who
Mm-hmm.
this is his fifth season in the AHL now. He was drafted in 2021, and he is, of course, known for his goal scoring, but has not been able to really be consistent in that route. So I think that is one of the main things that have prevented him from being able to make his NHL debut, which he still has yet to do. Um, as well as a couple seasons he has struggled with a lot of injuries, which have kind of hampered his play, but he did take a bit of a step last season. Still didn't quite get his call up or his NHL debut. Because of that, I think, with this being his fifth season, either expect him to make the debut or really kind of see where things go from here. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's one forward, I think, that will be interesting to watch throughout the season.
Because yeah, I was gonna say when you've gone five, you said 5 seasons, five
It will
seasons
be his
without
fifth,
your
yeah.
NHL debut, it must mean that the organization believes in you and has seen your potential,
Yeah.
hence why they have kept you for so long.
Mhm.
But also like if you don't do it now, like it's over. Because what is he like 26?
Oh, math. I actually want to say maybe 22. Because
No,
or 22,
what?
23. Well, because
He is 22.
if he was a draft pick in 2021, 2020, that would be 2021 grads. And I used my age to calculate that, but
Sorry, that's my year. We're the same age.
there you go. There you go.
Oh my God. Oh, he's been in the system a while then.
Yeah, well, because I think he pretty much made the jump to Abbotsford right after he was drafted, which maybe they could have reconsidered to let him kind of marinate a little more. But
Mm.
at the same time, like,
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Mhm.
I take it back. I'm sorry, guys. Klimovich is literally my age. He is like almost exactly a month older than me.
Oh,
Yeah.
hey, at least he's not younger. Should we
True.
continue going the young route or go a little older to make ourselves feel?
Yeah, I was gonna say let's
Okay.
do it. We're gonna make
Well,
yourself
okay.
better.
Someone else I have my eye on coming into camp then, who is older, is Jimmy Schuldt, who I believe is 30 to 32,
It's
which
now or never, buddy.
which
Yeah.
I although it's not necessarily, I think he has kind of settled in his role as a depth defenseman where he's maybe a seventh or a first call up to the NHL, but stays mainly in the AHL. The reason I'm keeping an eye on him is just because with Jet Wu and Guillaume Brisebois out for the foreseeable future due to injury, sad face, and a bunch of the other players like Willanen, Hirose, McWard, with all
Yeah.
those guys now gone, this is a very young blue line that we're seeing here. And with Schultz being like I think one of the oldest guys, if not maybe the oldest, not to make him feel bad, on the training camp roster, I kind of wonder if, like, I want to see what kind of leadership we get from him, just because I know he was captain of the San Jose Barracuda last year and spent 3 seasons with the C for St. Cloud State University back when he was in the NCAA. So to kind of take that step with a new team, I'm interested in how that impacts his play as like a veteran defenseman. Um, and like, maybe what we'll see from him from training camp.
We'll see.
That's the only like above 25 player I had on this list. So
But they have training camp. I'm going to training camp tomorrow, so maybe keep out for a couple of images that I might be sending out
ooh,
or showing. But
exciting.
yeah, we'll see. It'll be fun.
Keep your eyes peeled. Drop the socials for
Do
the
I do it?
go
Yeah.
ahead. Drop the socials.
So
I'll
it's
put a banner up here or something
yeah,
that says
banner. Right. NM Panos is Twitter, and then HA_NM Panos is Instagram. So yeah.
so be sure to keep an eye out for that, everyone. See some shots from Abby training camp. I don't know if there's anyone actually covering it right now, so
Exclusive.
your go-to source. Um, anyways, back to training camp. Did you have anyone that you're planning on keeping an eye out in the next couple days while you're there tomorrow?
Ooh, I think, as funny as this may sound, I'm very curious to see where Ty Mueller stands within the group.
Hmm.
We've established that he is a good skater and he's got potential, but is he gonna make his mark as one of the leaders in the group? Is he gonna kind of fall behind and just do his own thing? I'm curious. We'll see.
And Mueller is coming off of an injury, so that could potentially impact his performance in training camp. It could not. Who knows?
Hopefully not. We'll see. If I see him limping, I'll let you guys know.
There we go.
But
Inside
yeah.
information. Okay.
So from Abbey Canucks to the Vancouver Canucks, we had a bit of an injury, a surgery, may one say. Do you want to take it away? Let us know who.
Yep. So I was actually there on Wednesday night. And while we were there, unfortunately, it was Nils Höglander who, despite having himself a decent night alongside Filip Chytil, ended up heading down the tunnel around the end of the second period. Didn't hear anything from the Canucks until the third period when he did not come out and they announced that he would not be returning for the rest of the game. And then later on, talked to Foot. Foot mentioned that he was kind of they weren't gonna really give a whole lot away and that he'd be evaluated the day after. The day after came around and they said he'd be week to week. And all of a sudden the news drops on Monday that Höglander got surgery done on what was initially thought to be a sprained ankle, and will now miss around 8 to 10 weeks, which puts him in the ballpark of returning around end of November to mid-December. So I believe Adam did the calculations for that, and that's 29 games that he'll potentially miss. Yeah. This is obviously a massive blow to the top six, the middle six. But one thing this does do is open up a lot of spots for fringe players who are looking to make the team. Because now we have I believe it's 3 spots open for players to come in and collect full-time roles. Höglander will be missed. He's one of the more hardworking players. He's out there every night, gives it his all every shift. Dynamic, crafty, creative. Showed some chemistry with Filip Chytil before, unfortunately, getting injured. But like I said, this does open some doors for players like, well, one in particular that I have in mind for this is Jonathan Lekkerimäki, but it does open a lot of doors for some of these players to kind of come in and
make their mark.
Yeah, exactly. Like
show what they're capable of.
Even, like even if they don't stick in the lineup the whole season, that's still like around 29 games, right? That you can get to kind of hone your craft.
Yeah. No, it's a massive opportunity for those young guys.
Mm-hmm.
So if I were them, this is the time to take advantage of it, because you're not going to get an opportunity like this very often.
Do we want to look through the players who, because we did have more roster cuts happen on Monday. So now we're down to 33 players, but the notables so far who are not roster regulars who are still with the team are Nils Höglander, Arshdeep Bains, Braden Coots is still with the team. Linus Karlsson, Vitali Kravtsov, of course, Jonathan Lekkerimäki, who we mentioned, Atu Ratu, Max Sasson. Then on defense, we also have Pierre-Olivier Joseph, Victor Mancini, who has had a phenomenal preseason, and DPD, as well as Tom Vilander. So, and Nikita Tolopilo. So we do have a few Abby guys in there. Um, we are not sure if we will see them at Abbotsford's training camp at all, but those are the remaining players who are looking to grab a full-time roster spot with the now three that we have available. Is there anyone in particular that you have your eye on to kind of make a bid for Höglander's spot?
I gotta say, like, it's Lekkerimäki's time to shine. Like, he had some very good moments last season where you could see that he's capable of doing more than what he was able to show during the playoffs. But I'm I'm excited for him because I think that this is his opportunity to lose. Like, I think if the team is going to take a chance on anyone, it's going to be this guy. Because all I remember is that one game where they went into shootouts and he was like second chosen he did the little stick twirl.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't show you that a team is willing to take a chance on you and thinks that you're capable of, then I really don't know what does. Like, you're not going to send someone out at the tail end of a season to take a shootout if you don't believe in them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my opinion. And I like him as a player and I like him as a person. So I hope that he does well. I hope that he can finally like show his full, like, I'm developed now, I'm capable, I'm here to prove myself, you know?
And I think, like you said, that's a good point, how they're putting him in these kind of positions or matchups to succeed, right? Like they're not burying him on the fourth line. They're putting him with really capable players to kind of see if he can make an impact. Like the prospect showcase, he was on the top line. Things like that kind of show that they trust him and they want him to have the best opportunity to go and do what they know he's capable of doing. So yeah, he is definitely someone to keep an eye on in the next couple games. And potentially for October 9th. You'll see. One person I was like, I want to look at, but hasn't really stood out to me is Vitali Kravtsov. Especially with him being like, he's 25 now. This is his welcome back to the NHL after a couple years in the KHL. It feels like it is all or nothing for him right now, like Vancouver or bust. But I'm not really sensing the urgency that comes with that kind
Like
of position that he's
prove yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. Like you see players like Coots who are just like flying, looking fantastic every game. And
Well,
Coots,
they're doing what they can
yeah,
to show that, like, hey, like, I'm here, I'm gonna try and make an impact and whatnot. But I guess what you're saying is like that, as you said, the sense of urgency is just not present. I don't know. Maybe that's like he's waiting for the actual seasons to start. I mean, it wouldn't make any sense because this would be the time to prove that, you know, out of the gates I can be a part of them, but I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I just haven't seen what I've wanted to from him for him to kind of get the role he wants. Like if anything, I feel like he could make that push for the spot that Lekkerimäki is gunning for right now. But in my eyes, it's Lekkerimäki over Kravtsov for that.
Oh, 100%.
For Höglander. Yeah.
Nothing against Kravtsov, but in this scenario, you're choosing Lekkerimäki.
Oh, yeah.
And if you don't, that is like such a gamble.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously it's a gamble either way, but
I'm interested to see what happens with Kravtsov in the next couple games. But again, we'll see. Shall we move on to players who are roster regulars who have stood out during the preseason?
sure.
Okay.
Who's yours?
I would say I have a couple. Höglander was one of them, but I don't know if he counts anymore. one player who has really stuck out to me is Thatcher Demko. He
That save.
Yes, that save on Sunday, and even last week in his first preseason game in Abbotsford, like he was dialed. Like he did let in a goal, but like it was only a goal, and you could tell right off the bat, like
It
he
was
was
like,
ready. He
okay,
came to
yeah.
play. Um, and that was something Foot had touched on after the game too. He had said, like, looking at Demko's, of course, he's always been a very agile, very like athletic goalie, but when looking at his decision making, like his ability to stick with committing to making a save and being able to kind of stretch out and do all those moves, like the one we saw on Sunday. I'm kind of starting to see flashes of the Demko that we saw last year after he had gotten his footing after his, because we all know, like, of course, last year was tough for him, but back during that point when he'd played maybe like 3 or 4 games and was settling in after injury before yet another injury would strike again, that was some of his best play since the season before. Like there was that stretch in February where he was second star of the week in the NHL, had like a 30 save shutout against Colorado. Like
There's glimmer of the Vezina finalist in there.
yes. Yes. So for me, that is one of my standouts. He's just been he has shown up and come as advertised, I guess. Like you could tell he he
He is currently earning his contract.
yes, he got healthy. He has been practicing and now he is pretty much back to the Demko that we know and love.
Which I'm really happy for.
Yes, exactly. Who did you have for regular standouts so far?
Um, okay, I guess it's not really a roster regular because he's just come onto the well, okay, just he came onto the team in like February. But I think that for taking Pedersen's place as number one center, I think Filip Chytil has been doing a decent job. Like I don't think it's been perfect by any means, but considering how many injuries he's had, and unfortunately he wasn't able to show us a lot um in like last season. But it's like, okay, it seems like he's slowly getting his rhythm back, and maybe this will help him build confidence and, really show the team and the fans what he's capable of.
Yeah, and I think how many games has he played in? I think he has played in 2 or 3 preseason games now. Um, and to me, when I've watched him, like I've seen that kind of flash of speed that he was particularly known for, especially back in his first game, like his first debut game with the Canucks. I remember that game he had scored that semi breakaway goal.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and like you just see like the speed, like and the ability
Like,
to capitalize on those rush chances. And I think that's something that depending on what kind of systems the coaches want to utilize this year, just because with Tocchet they weren't really as rush heavy. Um, depending on how they go about things, if Chytil is able to kind of utilize his speed in that way, like I agree. I do think he could be a very dangerous player, and he has looked very good during the preseason.
I just hope if Chicago comes back, Kiefer Sherwood better be ready.
That was funny. That was an
That was an
unexpected
absolutely
quote.
iconic moment. Cannot lie.
It's a crazy
But,
quote.
mhm.
But
but I think hopefully people give him the opportunity to stay healthy.
that is a
Because
good way of phrasing
yeah,
it.
you don't really get into positions where, okay, yes, it could happen on accident, but the sheer force that you need has to be purposeful in order for you to get to that point. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Good diplomatic way of putting that.
But yeah, so that was my choice.
Yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, lots to look forward to next week. I think that's everything from us this week, though.
Yeah.
So,
Season's getting started. Everybody,
yep,
get your flags ready. We're getting
yep,
good.
get excited. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, talk to you
Thanks for
next
listening,
week.
guys. Always leave a comment if you want us to cover any specific topics or whatnot. But
Or feel
yeah,
free to shoot us a message on any of our socials.
yeah. Have a good one.
Yeah.